now. Okay.
Not now.
Let's go. Okay. Should I do the intro, or do you want to do the intro? Okay. Welcome to what's this podcast called? Tangent. I like it. Tangent, episode 1. Today, we are talking about demilitarization of nuclear weapons. And apparently, we're also talking about the Korean Demilitarized Zone. What?
Nothing at all.
By Dr. Seuss.
Illustrated by Dr. Seuss.
Okay, let's get to it. As always, we will start off the podcast by... Oh, I didn't explain to the viewers what this is, because this is the first episode. The viewers at home.
The viewers.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Tangent Podcast is all about talking about the world's most important problems, and we will not stop this podcast until we reach a solution. The only thing is that we might go off on a tangent. 1 or 2 of them.
Or 10. 10, yes, because we're really hungry. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the first one. Okay. As always, we will start off the podcast by listening to the national anthem.
We will.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We'll just edit it in. Okay, we're strapped for time here.
We are not strapped. I am moving freely.
Okay, so you want to begin?
I think that North Korea...
Because I think...
Because I want to go to North Korea.
Yo pienso que
North
todos
Korea
los
es una...
inmigrantes
Son North Korea.
Okay.
Y es importante que nosotros realizamos que es importante que...
Que...
Cien.
So, you were saying...
I don't have anything to say.
Well, you were starting to say something.
Yeah. I
Yes.
think that it's a problem and we need to address it because...
What is? I forgot what you started the sentence with.
I do too. So I think that North Korea is a place that is not very happy.
Chicos, I'm so nappy.
I'm so nappy, chicos.
I'm nappy. Why, you really spit all over your laptop on that one.
That was gross.
Okay.
They're just for my defense.
You want? Okay, so I think in order to get somewhere in this podcast, we need to have a question that we
Okay.
can solve. So, the question is, should we get rid of nuclear weapons? And should North and South Korea unite? Those are the 2 questions we have to answer
I
tonight.
think that's a good idea.
Okay, I agree. We've done that one.
Okay, good. Podcast is over.
Okay, we'll see you next time, folks. I hope that was helpful.
Hi, this is Mr. Anderson, and welcome to Back. Can't even do it.
And welcome to Back to AP Chemistry Center.
And welcome to Marbles.
You see, it's like if I have 1 egg, we call that an egg. But if I have 12 eggs, we call that a mole. And these are just regular, everyday marbles.
So did you learn something? Probably not. Dun, 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 dun,
That'll be the
dun.
outro music.
What, the Mr. Anderson
Yes.
video? Okay.
Yeah,
That-
the entire
the
video
out-
will be the music.
The outro to Mr. Anderson or the intro to Mr.
No,
Anderson?
the
Because
video,
they're different.
The entire video.
The entire
of Mr.
video
Anderson
will be the
end
underlying
podcast.
music.
So, what are you typing? Undo that. I want to see what you typed.
It was just me smashing the keyboard.
Okay. So, we answered the first question, and we're only 4 minutes and 55 seconds in.
Okay. It's
Okay.
going great.
Bye.
So great.
The next question should the world demilitarize nuclear weapons?
Why you? I feel like you should answer one of these questions.
No.
Yes, because I don't have an answer.
Okay. We need to consider all angles of the argument.
Such as.
A right angle,
Right!
an obtuse angle.
Obtuse!
It says lead.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Alright, see you next week.
Say something.
Something.
Say something. I'm giving up on you. Chicos, I'm giving up on you.
Chicos, I'm giving up
On
life.
Nappy.
Nappy.
My stomach hurts.
So
How loud was that? Because I
that
hit
was-
the table pretty
that,
hard.
That was loud. We're definitely gonna hear that.
We are definitely,
We
definitely.
are so
we
going
are
to prison.
all
Going to prison.
now.
So, right now we have a large crisis in the world.
Mhm.
Would you like to tell me what that is? Okay, I'll say. Ever since the 50s, and by that I mean the 1650s,
And by that
the
you
world
mean
has been developing nuclear weapons like the United States and Russia and
the United States.
yeah.
Yeah, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's a concept called mutually assured destruction, just drunk driving, mad. Do you see what I mean?
Standardized
And
aptitude.
aptitude
Test.
for de-individuation.
You said.
Northeastern, right? We get it. I'll keep a running tally of how many times we say
Northeastern.
Chicos and
Oh.
Northeastern. So there becomes a point where every country has nuclear weapons, and you can't fire them at another country, because if you do, then they'll fire it back, and everyone dies. So, like,
There's no good result to come of it. It's just preparing for disaster.
well, one might argue that if everyone has these nuclear weapons, but nobody can use them, there's no point in having them.
Yeah,
But
I'd say so.
why would you say that?
I wouldn't say that. Keep going.
Because I'm about to make a counterpoint. But if you then argue that we should get rid of all the nuclear weapons, then somebody could just develop them again. Like, there's no stopping somebody from doing that. So
From
I think
doing it again. Yeah.
I think it's superior to keep everyone on a level playing field with nuclear weapons than to say, you know what, let's not do this.
Okay.
Because even though there will be an increased risk by having them available to us, at least everyone will be level. Now, of course, I am not taking into account the quantity of nuclear weapons.
Mhm.
Wealthy countries will obviously have more of them. But I think there's a
Do you
point.
think that's a problem?
Well, I think there's a point at which you have so many nuclear weapons that you could demolish everything. It's not like let's say it takes 10 nuclear bombs to destroy the United States. Anybody who has 10 controls the world. They don't need to keep developing more because they already have enough.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a point at which they have enough.
Yeah.
But
So Northeast.
no, you asked me.
We were
about-
getting somewhere.
So-
Talking with Ms. Elder about nuclear war.
So
You
the
know-
question was, which college do you want to go to?
I feel like there's no stopping someone from just developing them again.
It's a Northeastern.
No.
Oh, we gotta add that to the document.
Obtuse!
By the way, for the viewers, we have a document of all the inside jokes,
Yes.
and we have it open right now.
And now we're gonna
And now
add
we
more
are going
to it.
in.
Currently, it's 19 pages long, of which 3 consist of a Spanish teacher.
Yes, we won't name that Spanish teacher. But.
Whose actions have inspired many.
Well, okay, that's not true. The actions.
Many.
She has not taken action. He or
4
she
pages.
has not taken actions to prompt these.
Fine, her existence
No, well,
has
kind of. It's more of our
twisted minds and
group polarization being together.
individuation. I can't even remember what it
Indi-
is.
de-
I just
indi-
took a test on
I-
this. That was my best grade all year.
Really?
Yeah.
You got it back
102.
already?
Mhm. You haven't? When'd you take it?
I did. You said you just took it though.
Yeah. Well, when did
Today?
No. Yesterday. I got it back.
Well, that's not just.
Well,
I don't think the viewers came to listen
I
to
don't
us.
think there are any viewers.
You know what? You're right. Yeah, I got 102 as well.
No.
So.
And it was a double quiz. Which bonus did you get right?
The eyebrows one and
I got
the
one right,
experiment
too.
one.
I did too.
What did you say for your percentage?
45.
I said 57. Do you know what the actual one is? Mr. Hamilton never told us.
6. I think it's
6.
600. I can't even.
What?
Freya?
So we were talking about nuclear demilitarization.
It was
for about
70%.
10. What?
70%.
No, we were talking about nuclear demilitarization.
No, but to answer your other question,
I-
it was 70%.
I didn't care anymore.
Okay, well, I still cared. So, buttons!
For the viewers, I am.
He's-
Wait, hold on. I need to reference.
There's
the
a
document.
definition, just wait.
Um.
He is.
Points. No, there's a bomb strap. Okay. I was vigorously stabbing my chest with my hand, with my mouth gaping.
Doing it next time.
Yo.
Are we gonna add illustrated by Dr. Seuss?
Yeah, we should. Where does it go?
I don't know. It's not a commercial. I guess it's us stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I saw. Well, hopefully she's not around, but I saw Miss Millette again.
And you said hi to her?
That's it.
No.
I was in the library,
Mhm.
and she walked out of the health room into the library.
Yeah.
And Miss B said, "Hey, Miss Millette," and she went across the whole library.
She doesn't know how to greet people.
No,
it's
I
that
think
simple.
This is a thing that she does. It wasn't a one-off.
I miss my Northeastern.
Where did we leave off? I was talking about how there's a certain threshold you reach when you
Yeah.
have enough. And I was arguing that everyone should have nuclear weapons.
Right.
So you previously expressed interest in the argument that we should demilitarize. So why don't you express, even if you've changed your mind, why don't you express your original argument there as to why you thought that,
Oh.
and then you can tell me if you still think that.
I don't have. I don't know.
Well, see you next week.
No. Okay. World peace is obviously the goal of
Yes.
everybody, and I think that I agree with your point saying that developing bombs will be easy to do again if we already know how to do it and we just get rid of them. But I think getting rid of them altogether just eliminates all risk of anyone dying and any sort of trigger or spark that can start any kind of war.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So do you propose some sort of regulation that nations have to agree not to develop nuclear weapons?
yeah, I think that's obviously hard to maintain because there's always...
If you had to come up with a way to enforce that, what would you propose?
You could I mean, eventually I think we can get to a point where everyone can sort of calm down.
Mhm.
I think everyone's a little too triggered, and I think people are pushing other people, and everyone's just hesitating to see what the other person's going to do first so they can retaliate. But
And that's the thing. It's like
Yeah.
we all have these nuclear weapons and everyone's waiting,
Yeah.
and nobody ever does anything.
But what were you gonna say something?
No.
No.
I was vigorously stabbing my chest with my key.
Once again. You need to keep account of how many times we stab our chests with our hands, with
Washing
our mouths
khakis.
gaping open.
Okay. So you still think that it would be superior to demilitarized?
Get rid of all bombs, all sort of weapons, to ensure that no one will be in any sort of danger. That's my stance.
Yeah. Why don't you go?
No.
Okay.
So I was thinking... It's your turn.
I can't give you the points.
I can't give you anything!
I can't breathe.
She goes, I don't have a neck.
Now.
Money.
I think the immigrants. I agree with what you're saying. That would be great. Great.
It would be so... But...
It will be so, but I think that would be a good idea, but like you acknowledge this, it would be hard to enforce. And I think it would be so hard to enforce with the state that the world is currently at, that it is advantageous to keep the nuclear weapons. But of course, then there's always the threat of something after nuclear weapons, something more powerful, because people used to
Just at that point, it's blowing up an entire country
Yeah.
with a single push of a button. And
'Cause people used to-
that's pretty scary.
people used to think that harnessing the power of the atom wasn't possible, and that nuclear weapons would never be a thing.
Well, then what's next?
I don't know, but
You need to know.
what are you asking me?
She goes, I don't know the answer.
And once we get there, we're gonna have the same problem, where everyone has this powerful, like, it's the same. Nuclear weapons are going to become the new guns. Like, everybody has guns right now.
Mhm.
And those used to be a big advantage, but now everybody has guns. And we've moved on to the really militaristic countries having nukes. And then once we move on to the next thing, everybody's going to have nukes. And then we're going to move on to Death Stars, whatever it is.
We're all going to have Death Stars, and
Yes.
we're all just going to be aiming them at one another, waiting for someone. So
Yes.
we're going to expand beyond Earth, is what you're saying. Or are we just going to blow up the country that's on Earth?
Well, so it's funny that you bring that up.
Really? Is it?
Yeah, I'm
It's
laughing.
so funny.
Look, I'm laughing.
Funny. I would have used the future tense.
I would have died.
Now. I'm gonna do it!
It's funny.
For those of you who don't know,
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
you gotta
imitating
explain that.
strangling myself with a neck strap
W-
while
like,
threatening to shoot myself.
Like for a saxophone, a neck strap for
Yes.
a saxophone. Yeah.
And what were you saying?
Okay.
You weren't saying anything?
No,
No?
I
Okay.
was saying something.
Good.
Great. Great. It's bomb connection.
Aha!
There's a bomb strapped to my chest.
Aha!
I think
That was loud.
it's funny that you bring up space,
Mhm.
because I think until this, well, you'll have to tell me what you think about this. Assuming that we all maintain our nuclear or even if we get rid of them. No, let's assume that we maintain our nuclear arsenals.
Yeah.
What happens when we expand into space and we start living on other planets? Will we still have countries fighting against each other? Or will we band together
Just-
as Earth against Mars? Like right now we have the US against Russia. because we're so separated.
Okay.
But once people are on Mars,
I
it's
was
going to be like,
thinking-
because it takes something like, okay, well, it takes 8 minutes for light to travel from the sun to Earth.
Yeah.
So it's probably like 3 minutes or something from Earth to Mars, which is a really long time in these days. When you want to send a text to somebody, you're used to it getting there instantly, and 3 minutes is a long time. So I think it's going to kind of become us versus them in terms of Earth versus Mars, and everybody on Earth is going to have to band together.
Yeah. I thought you were referencing, like, will countries
Spin.
just leave outright because now they have the ability to go somewhere else?
Oh.
Could they just leave, say, I don't want a part of this, you don't agree with my terms, so why fight? I can just go
And so they're going to
to
settle
another-
their own planet.
maybe another planet, but that's far down the road. I was, like, I don't know.
So you're saying they just leave and don't settle anywhere and kill themselves?
No. Fine, we'll say that.
Yes.
She goes, I'm saying,
Because
I want this.
the viewer. He was
Rest of
just
her.
Mr. Well, I won't say his name, but the glasses. He was like wearing his
I have glasses. For those of you who don't know,
He was wearing his glasses and like putting them up and down across.
flicking them up and
nose.
down while still on my face.
It's an inside joke. Okay,
It's
you just wouldn't get
all of this.
it. You were saying something. You said
going
yes.
right, going somewhere else, not being a part, going away from Earth, like leaving it altogether.
Right.
That's what I think countries would do, because they wouldn't want to deal with opposing opinions of we all need to move to one planet together and then move to another planet together. Why can't we just split up if we can?
I didn't consider that. That's really interesting, actually. If that were to happen, like say, I keep using Russia and the U.S. As an example, and I mean it's definitely not. Well, according to President Trump, it is, but it's definitely not as bad as it was during the Cold War.
Didn't like Trump?
This is me from the future cutting in. A personal name was just said that we don't want released right now, so we have beeped it out. If you hear another one in the future of the podcast, now you know what that means. Back to the podcast.
I don't think she did.
I
feel like she had a poisonous hatred for him.
feel like she was poisoned.
I feel like she's Trump.
Now. I don't think that so I keep using the U.S. and Russia, but I guess I'm just stuck in the 60s. If
Yes, you are.
If
I mean, you dress like you're in the 60s.
yeah,
So.
shut up! Shut! I said
shut up!
I don't really want meatloaf.
You're not eating meatloaf. Good.
Good.
Uh-oh! money. And buddy!
Oh my god.
It took you that long, though. It took
I
a
didn't
full
get it.
second.
I just remembered that I made that mistake a while ago. And buddy!
For those of you who don't know, we're referencing The Incredibles.
They were referencing the part of The Incredibles where Incrediboy
you do it
flies
again.
up to the skyscraper, and Mr. Incredible is there with Bon Voyage.
Bon voyage.
Mr.
Mr. Incredible!
And he flies up and he announces his name when he gets there and he says, "And Incrediboy!" But I made the mistake that he called himself Buddy, which
And it was really, really funny.
and it's really
really funny!
She goes,
And for the Hopkinton High School Funny Club. I don't know.
You really tried on that
Something.
one. So the U.S. and Russia. I think it's an interesting point that you bring up, because I think I always pictured that once people went to a different planet, like, we would all do it together, but as it seems right now, the U.S. will get to Mars first.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a month and a day. Mars first. Yes, on Mars first, Tuesday.
Mars first, Tuesday.
So when the U.S. when the U.S. gets to Mars first,
Yeah.
I always pictured it like, then they would break off from the U.S. and then they'd start their own Martian thing, and then we'd
Okay.
just be back here. But now that you say that, I'm kind of feeling like countries will want to be independent of each other, and if they were to do that, I think they would maintain their territory on Earth. I think if Russia were to go out in the solar system,
So they wouldn't just leave it all behind.
they wouldn't just leave it because they don't want to just give us Earth.
Mm,
They want to maintain a foothold there. But
that makes sense.
honestly, Russia did some impressive things during the Cold War, but what they've done with their space program recently hasn't really gone anywhere.
Mm.
And I think it's even slowed down. Like, when the U.S. discontinued the shuttle program, Russia got a lot of launches in, but now we have companies like SpaceX doing a bunch of launches.
Elon Musk?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Nothing, go on. My full name is Elongated Muskrat.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Nothing, go on. I read that somewhere.
What?
It was probably fake, but it was Elon Musk's Twitter account, and he tweeted something that said, "My full name is Elongated Muskrat."
The SpongeBob SquarePants show has finally come to an end. I saw that tweet the other week, but apparently that's a thing that happens every year.
Oh,
Somebody makes a fake
course.
hoax about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yup.
Did.
Hopkinton.
Oh my god. I think they would break off.
So you agree with me?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Awesome.
Awesome sauce,
Sauce.
DJ. Sloan.
DJ.
I think they would go their separate ways. Or if the US got there first,
To Mars, you're saying.
to Mars, I'm
Yeah.
saying.
You're saying Mars.
I'm saying
Mars,
if
you're
they got to Mars first.
Mars, yes.
Like the date.
Like the first.
Like the first of Mars.
Like U.S.
It's like you're talking about the future.
But you
in
need
the,
to use like the past
the
participle.
progressive era.
Because the subject is you, and you're talking about the past participle, and the subject is you, and you're talking about the past participle.
And the
My name is Billy!
My name's not Billy.
That's not my address. It's mine. At the end of the movie, he gets it. It's in his house. Yes!
If the U.S. does that first,
Steals
then
the present.
Russia might just go along with it, and once the technology trickles down, they may try and break off.
Okay.
So it's not like we're going to break off immediately. But bringing it back to nuclear weapons,
Right.
I
We were
think-
talking like advancements.
yeah, I think, well, there are two possibilities here. There is
possibilities.
Earth versus other planet, or we still have other countries versus each other spread across the solar system.
I don't know if countries splitting up, like obviously some will be better than others, but I don't know if certain ones who decide to just leave and become their own thing will be too successful.
Well, the trouble that I have with the countries argument is that the communication delay between the planets is so
Drastic.
comparatively drastic
Mhm.
that it's like, I guess you could make the connection between like early America, communication between the Northeast and California. It took weeks. But I feel like in today's age that wouldn't be acceptable, and the communication delay would be so great that it would like force us into that. But we've been talking about that for a while. So, given the two options, altogether on, or planet versus planet, or still country versus country, what do you see as the future of
I
weapons?
don't think. I mean, with tensions right now regarding nuclear war and bombs and who's gonna attack first and all this hatred that's going around, I think it's gonna be really hard for the planet to unite and become one unity and fight all together, especially if it's against like another planet or something like that. But It's a matter of cooperation and having the right people in charge.
Well, there's a situation in which, and this would take a long time, but there's a situation in which some people may go to some other planet and they may prosper more on that planet, in which case if we wanted to maintain our footholds, Earth would have to band together and work together.
Do you think that if a country were to, this may be a stupid question, but
Yes,
do you think
it is.
if they, do you think if they were to leave, become successful somewhere else, would they come back and then try to reclaim Earth?
Oh, I definitely think they would.
Really?
Yeah,
You
because
think it wouldn't go away? You think we'd always have beef with opposing nations?
assuming that the country stays together between those two planets,
Okay.
then that country has so much more power, assuming that they're the only one that's expanded,
Yeah.
which in this case would probably be the U.S. We've traveled to another planet
Yeah.
and back. Like, we are so far ahead of everybody else that we could just take over the entire Earth. But if it were the U.S., I don't think we would do that,
Right.
because we,
We're not
we have
psychotic.
we have a history of kind of sticking up for the small capitalists of the world. So, in terms of nuclear weapons, I think either way we go there, we're still going to have weapons of mass destruction, because if it's still country versus country, there's no reason to get rid of them.
But what if two countries want to go for one place? Say there's another planet that's
Exactly.
better than Earth.
Well, then it's another
then it's still war.
it's another space race, and then
Yeah.
you could just destroy the other person because, well, we want that.
So it's.
And then if it's planet versus planet, well, one planet's going to have to develop weapons of mass destruction against the other planet.
So it's Earth essentially just expanded, like representing planets as countries.
Earth becomes a country, yeah.
Yes, and the whole thing, war. War never changes.
War never changes.
War changes.
Chicos,
Quite
war.
often.
Chicos, I was in.
Chicos, what do you think of that? Nope, you missed it. For those of you who don't know,
For those of you
I
listening at home,
spread my arms like an eagle and I twisted my wrists outward,
to
mimicking a cutoff in music, in band. So Northeastern.
illustrated by Dr. Seuss. So it seems like the conclusion that we're reaching is that we will never be able to demilitarize, because even if we tried to right now, well, okay, so if we continue on our current trajectory of having nuclear weapons against each other, then we will always have them, because it will be planet versus planet. And I would like to think that someday humans could get together and work out the problems, but I really don't see that happening. And I think it'll always be somebody versus somebody.
Is it like the idea of
Unless
unless useless? I'm useless.
aliens.
You're saying if aliens want to come to our planet, take us over, or do something, then it's going to have to resort
If
to
aliens,
either countries bailing and leaving Earth behind.
if aliens become a reality, then it's humans versus them.
Okay.
I don't see any I don't see any way around that. I think that's inevitable.
Okay. What were you saying before?
Yes.
You were saying something. No, that's not what you were saying before.
Okay. So we got the aliens clause out of there.
Yeah.
If I don't think we'll ever be able to resolve our differences unless we get aliens, and I think it'll be much harder to resolve our differences in the future when we're spread out across
Galaxy.
the galaxy. Although maybe it wouldn't be as difficult, since it would kind of give us perspective on
Of
the universe and how
Us and our
pointless it
influence
is
on. Yeah.
on,
Okay.
to destroy each other. Plus, kind of the reason that we have these troubles is because we're so close together right now. If we could spread out across a galaxy,
We just need space.
then we would virtually never run out of space. In fact, we won't, because space is expanding.
Always expanding.
Always.
Until it starts coming together.
And then we all die.
And then we die.
Chicos, and then we're going to die.
I'm going to do it.
Chicos,
Do you understand
people
me?
die all the time.
referencing a lot.
Jeez. Yeah, did you not expect that?
Jeez.
Multiple
No, but
Gs.
it's like we're sticking to like the first 3 pages of the document.
Okay, you wanna touch on something later? How about
Well, we feel like we should save it for like other episodes.
Steve Harvey. See, that was
Ding, 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 ding.
Page. Oh, we gotta add that one in.
What?
Ding or ding.
I was gonna say something about, just to say this, the idea of communism. What's that
That's
line?
it. What's that line?
It's like
Little Red Book.
how everyone's
It's like
supposed to be
Cool
equal.
Notes.
You know the only way. What did Evan say?
What?
You didn't hear? It was something like, the only way to ensure equality is with armed revolution against higher orders.
I guess we're kind of having an anti-communism talk right here, or at least I'm suggesting that, because I'm suggesting that we will never be able to work together just because.
We're not, at least I'm not saying, I don't know if you are. Probably not. You probably are. You probably not. You probably are. Saying that countries shouldn't work together. Because if they can, then that's good. Compromise is preferred over
Compromise
genocide.
is, well, yeah. But compromise is always the worst solution aside from genocide, because nobody gets what they want, and they always settle for something less.
Would you prefer it if you lose
No,
to
I
someone
want
else?
to win.
Okay. And how are you going to do that?
Money!
I need 27 million.
Pairs of headphones. Now.
Right now.
Well,
Wow, everyone's gone.
I think. What were we saying?
I said something about communism, how it's kind of the same thing of we're trying to get everyone to be equal, and this peace, this hypothetical theory would be really nice if everyone would just be happy and cooperate. But that's not going to happen because there's always one person that kind of wants more.
Exactly.
There's one person that wants a bit of power.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that. I don't really buy the idea that everybody can just inherently be good. I think that'd be great.
Humanist theory.
That'd be great, but I don't
Correct.
think it's a reality.
Obtuse!
It says lead.
It doesn't say anything. I just gave you the ticket.
Now, Paul.
What
What is that, the E.T. theme?
No.
I
I was trying to do Goodbye Samba.
A.
A. A.
We'll,
B,
du-
C.
we'll dub that in the edit right now. We'll put Goodbye Samba A in the background. Would you like to say anything while Goodbye Samba A is playing in the background right now? Whoops. I mean, goodbye, Squidward. Yeah, here's an opposite day. Goodbye. Shoots him.
Sandra Bullock, 2009 sports drama film The Blind Side, directed by John Lee Hancock, scoring a 67% on the credible film review site Rotten Tomatoes and achieving the critic consensus. It might strike some viewers as a little too pat, but The Blind Side... Patrick. The Blind Side has the benefit of strong source material and a strong performance from Sandra Bullock. That's what I'm gonna say. Right now. Sandra Bullock of the 2009...
Come on, Ainsley!
Kraken!
For reference there,
Faster!
we were referencing Sailing Club and having
We have a sailing club.
one girl being yelled at to skip her 7 boats at once and flailing her arms with all the main sheets.
Meanwhile, while she's sailing, there's a tidal wave, a horrible thunderstorm, and a kraken attacking her all at the same time. Meanwhile, the other sailors in the race are sailing peacefully on a bright sunny day with gentle winds and are having a great time.
And then you put the camera back over on Ansley, and it's like
it's chaos. Pretty sure somebody knows.
Mr. Gringo.
I know, Chris!
Great, but
So what can we learn from this?
nothing at all. Vamos a hacer nada.
Esquiar. Autoactivate B. Escucha a la conversación a Ana y Miguel. Después completa las oraciones. Hola, Ana.
Hola, Miguel. ¿Qué haces en tu fin de semana?
David murió. Yo maté David.
Qué bueno. Adiós.
Escucha a la conversación a Ana. Una vez más.
Child labor rug manufacturing.
That's the next topic.
Yes,
We talk about child labor laws.
Next time, we will talk about child labor and rug manufacturing in Indonesia.
Specifically Indonesia.
I think that's what
so
it
I have to
talked
do
about on the
research.
yeah
Just load up the Wikipedia page.
for Indonesia.
Indonesia is a country. Indonesia is a country. Allison, Allison, Allison. Allison, Allison, Allison. Allison, Allison, Allison.
There aren't that many different ways to pronounce Allison.
Allison,
Ellison.
Ellen.
Block.
Nothing.
Nada.
Nobody.
We were-
Asterix.
Ask. Nah.
Nobody.
So, I mentioned that there were two. We went off for like 10 minutes there.
It was a long time.
I mentioned that there were two methods, and there's the method of we never figure this out, and we go on having weapons of mass destruction through our expansion into space, or we solve it right now, and somehow we figure out a way to work together and correctly enforce
So you're saying
we correctly enforce demilitarization of nuclear weapons, and then I think it would be that would be easier to do that while we're all here, rather than trying to coordinate that while everyone's spread across the universe.
Yeah, well, I agree, but you're saying it's not possible later,
Well-
or you're saying it's just much less likely because
I
we're
think it's much less likely.
distant and
Yep.
everyone's by themselves, and it's like by myself now.
Yes.
But yeah, it would be better to settle down now, so that way in the future we don't have to play with fire.
But again, I mean that's one option, but I don't think that's the option that's going to happen. I think we're never going to resolve this.
You think everyone's going to stay to themselves?
And we will continue having weapons of mass destruction into the future. And I honestly can't make an assessment as to whether or not countries will continue to act like countries as we expand throughout space, or whether countries will band together as one world.
Okay.
But either way, I think, would lead to weapons of mass destruction again, because people just don't trust each other.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're ever... Well, I don't know
feel
if we're ever going to get there, but maybe we'll have mind reading in the future.
That may be a possibility, but maybe that's further down the road than we think.
I feel like mind reading could come before we
Get to
start
Mars.
expanding past the solar system.
Oh.
Because Mars isn't really that far away.
Mars is pretty near.
compared to the other solar system, which is I don't know.
Are we really gonna
I
control-
think Alpha Centauri is 19,000 light years away.
Okay.
So if we traveled at the speed of light for 19,000 years, we would get there.
You said solar system,
Yeah.
right? So
I mean,
I forgot my other point. I was going to say
I mean,
something.
yeah, if we can even escape the solar system,
Right.
I think.
Well, what
mind
uses
reading would
would
come for that.
the solar system have other than just openness to expand.
You mean expanding throughout our solar system?
Yeah, because if you go beyond Mars, there's really nothing else.
Yeah.
It's Jupiter, but and Saturn, but they're all gas giants, so that doesn't do anything.
Until you get to Pluto, which is ice. I don't know, actually, is it ice? I think it is ice.
Yeah.
We could live, potentially in the future, we could live on some of those planets and we could figure out ways to adapt to those environments.
Mm-hmm.
But you're kind of right. Like, once we fill up Mars, where do we go?
That's pretty much Venus, but that's hot.
All lava.
And it's
Pluto
toxic.
Pluto is ice cold. So
it'd be pretty cool to say that you own Saturn, but
yeah, but you can't
I
really.
don't know.
Like, I've never really understood this about gas giants. If you just drop something into them, and to be honest, we as a species might not actually know what happens, but if you just dropped something into Saturn,
It goes through it.
does it go through it? Or is there something in the middle
there-
that it would hit? Because I think we've dropped probes into Saturn, or gas giants before, but we obviously lose contact with them right when they jump in.
Well, storms form on planets.
Yeah, that's true. Like, there's that big
The red spot.
storm on
Jupiter.
Jupiter.
I don't think I've ever heard someone called Jupiter Jupiter.
Well, maybe we should start. There's Venus,
Jupy,
Mercury,
Saturn,
Venus, Earth,
Yuri.
Mars, Jupy, Saturn, Uri, Nepi, and Pluty. It's in Northeastern, right?
No, not Northeastern.
No! That's not what lawnmowers sound
I
like.
can't mimic
It's
a
more like-
lawnmower. It's very
Somebody's in the hallway. They hear that.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything- fine.
It's so fine, she
Wait.
goes.
Audio activity big.
Look, listen to this and answer questions. You got it?
How many ages is Shakira?
You have 5 seconds.
To do some math. You're gonna have to do a little bit of calculus for this one.
And if you can't do calculus, then why are you in Spanish?
Okay, so we started this podcast with 2 questions.
Do you remember what they were?
No. Why don't you tell me what the questions were?
It was back to demilitarization. It was something like, should we demilitarize altogether, or should we come to some sort of neutral stage where
We're doing air quotes.
high score.
Silver bells.
Silver bells. Silver bells. Silver bells. Silver bells.
Oh my god.
People are right there.
No, they're not. Nobody's in the library.
People are right there.
Let's add a bit of a swing to it, shall
Let's
we?
add nothing to it. Are we playing that for anything else, or
No.
No. Okay.
No.
No. Northeastern.
Northeastern. Do you go to Northeastern?
Blackpink.
Let's take a look inside the admissions.
Let's not look inside the admissions office.
Doing a maze.
I'm not doing a maze. I have a maze. Spanish listening activity. Do this maze. What maze? This one. I don't have a maze. I have to do a bit of calculus.
This is Paul Alberta from the Nipmuc Regional High School, and I'll be adjudicating your performance today. Well, I hope you learned something, and I hope that was helpful.
Silver bells!
Wow.
That was a bad voice crack.
We're gonna have to wait like 10 minutes after we finish this before we leave.
Because
There's gonna be like a crowd of people waiting out there to
there's
see
the police out
what
there.
is happening in this room.
It's gonna be like Mr. Sullivan.
It's like, I've been taking notes about
Malleability.
everything,
Uh-huh.
and I think you may have a serious psychological disorder.
I think you might have epilepsy.
You have been diagnosed with
Cancer.
influenza.
Chicos, I have no reason to live.
Have you ever seen
Cancer?
The Office? Yeah. Have you ever seen Cancer?
Have I?
Have you ever seen The Office?
Yes.
The whole thing?
No.
But okay.
Just
So,
tell me a scene and I can picture it.
in the first series,
I've
Mike,
seen the first series.
it's
so.
like the first couple episodes. Michael is worried about downsizing of the branch.
Oh yeah, okay.
And he's sitting in his office and he's getting the personal interview. And this is probably one of my favorite lines in the show. And he says, "Why would I tell these people about downsizing? It's like a doctor doesn't tell a patient they have cancer." I thought that was a beautiful
Yes,
line.
they do.
So, I don't think you ever told me what the two questions were.
Should we demilitarize altogether? And buttons. That's
Do you get it?
Do you get it? Because I don't.
She goes, "Do you?"
buttons? Because I can't.
The other question was, what should we do about the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea?
Oh yeah, North Korea.
And we immediately came to the conclusion that they should unify.
North and South Korea.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. And then, as for a conclusion for our little
Spiel.
nuclear
Schmau.
weapons demilitarization discussion, I think I seem to have reached the conclusion that while it would be nice if we could demilitarize, I still think that that will never happen. And we talked a lot about the future of humanity and the demilitarization in terms of expanding past, beyond Earth, and I think it'll persist if we don't solve it now,
Okay.
which I don't think we will.
At least we'll have Death Stars.
What do you think? What is your final take?
Is same as you. It's the idea is good. It will be happier. It'll be more calm. It'll be a place where people can relax. But life is full of stress, and that's simply not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking a lot about this in psych, but there are just differences between people culturally and ethnically that we
can't compromise.
We seem to not innately be able to get over them.
We can't compromise on everything.
Yeah.
So I hope you learned something. Probably not.
Chickies, come here. I've been convicted of arson.
If you invest
In a timeshare here
Of
on
arson.
Kaido Island. Okay, I think that's enough.
You think that's enough?
Yeah.
So what's our outro?
Well, we'll play the Mr. Anderson video.
Right, but we need some
Oh yeah, we need to
thing
like sign off, right?
on what?
Like we need to have a sign off. Like, all right, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Why don't you come up with?
Well, that's boring.
Yeah, come up with a better one. So, this week,
No.
we discussed the demilitarization of nuclear weapons and the demilitarized zone in Korea, and we talked about that for about 10 minutes, and then we talked about other stuff for about 50 minutes. So, this has been the Tangent Podcast, episode 1. I hope you learned something, and I hope that was helpful.
Pack up.
Oh, we never introduced ourselves.
Oh, that would be helpful.
I'm Mappy. We should have done that at the beginning.
Well, I
Tune
guess we have
in
to-
next week.
Maybe we don't introduce ourselves. Maybe we're anonymous this whole time.
Well, I think we should have introduced ourselves in the first episode.
Okay, so maybe you can just edit something.
Well, that seems like a lot of work.
Does it?
No.
It doesn't. No.
I lied.
Exactly. Maybe we can have the introduction. You can just cut this out. Have the introduction.
I'm not going to cut this.
No. Okay, hold on. So we introduce ourselves at the start, and then we have the national anthem, and then we start. Or we could have introduction, and then Mr. Anderson intro, and then whatever.
The budget!
The vocab!
27
million vocabulary terms
to
we're gonna pronounce.
Chicos, mira. I feel like we shouldn't really have a dedicated intro. It should just be natural.
It should just be...
We'll just come up with it on the spot.
Fish.
It'll change every time. Fish. Okay.
For the Hopkinton High School Fish Club. A fish.
Alright, that's enough. Alright, we got one done. We have 9 more to do.
Okay. 900 million.
Hi, it's Mr. Anderson, and this is Chemistry Essentials Video 3. It's on the mole. The mole is an incredibly important term. It's like if I have 1 egg, we call that an egg, but if I have 12 eggs, we call that a mole. So just regular marbles like this. Okay, so what did we learn in summary? Moles. So that's the mole. It's just an egg, and I hope that was helpful.